Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Beer versus Beer. Today we've got another German showdown for you, this time both from Munich, and both, at least in name, connected to religious orders. We have the Paulaner Hefe-Weizen versus the Franziskaner Weissbier, which is also a Hefeweizen. So anyway, these are very closely rated on Beer Advocate. Franziskaner comes in at number 8 out of Hefeweizens, and Paulaner number 10, but they both score the same Beer Advocate rating of 91. I think Franziskaner is one of the first that I had. I think the Schneider Weisse might be the first, although I'm not positive. But Franziskaner obviously was very common and was easy to find in grocery stores. So it was one of my go-to Weissbiers before I really got into beer regularly or delving into a bunch of different beers. Just sort of like, oh, I like good beer. This is available in grocery stores. But now I've tried bunches of Weissbiers, and as you guys know, it's one of my favorite styles. Perhaps my absolute favorite. Goes back and forth between that and Doppelbock and all of that. So anyway, I'm excited because whoever wins this, I've got 2 of these, including this one, left, and a few of these. So whoever wins this battle is going to go up against the Weihenstephaner Hefeweizen. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited to find out which one will take the win and go on. Now Paulaner already beat Tucha, the Hell-Weissbier, or what was it, Helles Weissbier? Helles Hefeweizen. So it's already won once. The first appearance of Franziskaner in this on this channel, as far as I can recall. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to try not to forget to get the sediment off the bottom, like I sometimes do. Settle a bit. I'm really excited for this one. Anytime I get to do Weissbiers. As a matter of fact, I skipped this one up ahead because I still have some Märzens to compare, and actually, I believe Paulaner is one of them. Their Oktoberfest Märzen I still need to review or pit against another one, which I believe is the Hacker Shore, which I saw someone else recently ended up doing all of the official fest beers, and Paulaner got second and Hacker Shore first on that. But I think that was the regular fest beers, not the Märzens. See if I can get. I'm not quite sure how much liquid to leave in the bottom before I do this, so we'll see. For those of you who are wondering, sometimes you'll see Naturtrub on the front, like on the bottom of the Franziskaner. Underneath Premium Weissbier, it says Naturtrub. I believe that means naturally cloudy. So that's all that's referring to. I think I still have to get some more out of this. There's more Paulaner than Franziskaner. Done the trick. Alright. Which makes a little bit of an unfair advantage as far as comparing the heads. But, alright. So, here's the Paulaner. You can see that. I got the can. As far as density, I'd say the Paulaner is just a hair darker, but it looks like some of that might be due to the fact that the yeast on this one seems to be going right down the center in like a strand. Whereas this one, it's more uniformly cloudy. This one is definitely carbonated. I can still see the bubbles coming up pretty intensely. This one's got some good carbonation as well. Looks like it has maybe bigger bubbles. Let's see if I can tell. Looks to me like it's bigger bubbles, but moving slowly, more slowly. But yeah, I mean, very similar in color, but it does appear to me, if one is darker, it's probably the Paulaner by a smidge. But yeah, this a little bit more orange than the Paulaner from what I can tell. Yeah, standard Weissbier smell. Try not to confuse banana and clove smells. So both have a similar smell. I'd say the Franziskaner seems a little bit more intense or bright. Whereas the Paulaner seems a little bit smoother, deeper. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how to define that. Anyway, let's go right in. We'll start with the Paulaner since I have more of that in the glass. Interesting. Very smooth. I've had this before even recently, and it's not registering my brain the way that I expected it to. Very smooth. Very sessionable. But a little bit muted on the flavors, actually. Like it's got a Weissbier flavor, but it seems fairly laid back. All right, Franziskaner. Also fairly muted. Maybe it's my palate. I've had allergies lately the last few days. I wonder if that's affecting it. At least at first, the Paulaner seems to be a little bit thicker and smoother at the same time, whereas the Franziskaner seems more effervescent, like more the carbonation, and also a little bit sharper. Both very smooth, low bitterness. Probably a little more bitterness on the Franziskaner, but that could just be tied to that effervescent punch. I mean, they're very similar. This is hard for me. All right, just now I'm getting a little bit of an orange note. At least that's the way it's registering to me. On the Paulaner, a little bit of an orange note. Which normally I would associate with a wit beer, not a Weissbier. It's very pleasant. I love orange, so that helps. Whereas the Franziskaner, one of the hard parts about doing these, if I'm honest, is trying not to play favorites, because some of these beers I'm more familiar with. I have fond memories going back years, even despite the fact that for years I really didn't drink beer at all in between, but like I have memories of drinking this. I believe Pope Benedict XVI was known to order Franziskaner at a restaurant in Rome when he was still Cardinal Ratzinger. I doubt he went there as Pope, but sometimes you can see him drinking a big mass of beer. And it usually looked like a wheat beer. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of his favorites. Okay, getting more banana this time around on the Franziskaner. So again, Franziskaner basically means Franciscan, and Paulaner means like what we would probably say in English is Paulist fathers. Yeah. Apparently this says just as Germany's #1 Hefeweizen. I think that means by volume, like who sells the most. Interesting. This says that Franziskaner has been from Munich since 1363, but it's now owned by Spaten. Spaten Franziskaner, I think, is the official company name now. Not sure when. Well, this says Paulaner München since 1634. So Franziskaner is older, at least in origin. This is tough because I kind of would like a mix of the two. If I could get, yeah, see how that's lighter? I think that's true, but if I switch sides, I do that in case the lighting isn't even. But it does seem to even it out more. Like that side, probably because there's natural light coming in from this side over here. This is tough. So even though Hefeweizen is one of my favorite beer styles, I find it very difficult to judge sometimes because it's also, to me, one of the styles where they're the most similar from brand to brand or brewer to brewer. Because of that strong banana clove element, it's usually just a matter of which notes come out more strongly. But generally, it's similar mouthfeels. In this case, I think the Franziskaner does have the more effervescent, lighter body, more noticeable carbonation, which actually for me is not necessarily preferred. For some people it might be. I like my Weissbiers to be very smooth and thick. But I do like some carbonation. If anything, the Paulaner doesn't look like it's undercarbonated. I mean, I can, at least early on, yeah, I mean, I can see the bubbles coming up still. But it's not as noticeable when I drink it. Oh, there we go. I don't know. I got some that time when I thought about it more. So very good, because you don't want it flat. Like, I don't want it flat. But I don't necessarily need it to be overly carbonated either. Okay, I admit, this is going to be very difficult for me to pick between these two. So I have to try to imagine that I can only order one of these. Like, let's say I have one more round. Which way am I going with it? Which one am I going back up for? Every time I think I know the winner, I end up switching my mind. So the answer seems to be whichever one I had last. So what do I like about each? I like the orange accent I'm picking up on the Paulaner that I don't pick up on the Franziskaner. I like the smoother, thicker quality of the mouthfeel on the Paulaner. I like the stronger flavor notes I'm getting on the Franziskaner. It's a little bit punchier. So I get more, I get more flavor overall out of the Franziskaner, I think. More intensity, maybe is the way to put it. Wow, this is so hard. All right, if any of you guys have ever done this comparison, let me know which one you prefer and why. Because literally it's every time, it just seems like whichever one I had last I prefer. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, huh? It seems like a coin flip. Got more banana that time. Huh. This might have to do a rematch at some point. Because either way I pick, I'm not going to be satisfied. I mean, I can see why Beer Advocate gave them the exact same rating. Because they are different, and they're noticeably different within the style. But one's not really better than the other, per se, you know? They're just slightly different. And in a good way, as in like, oh, it's good they both exist. Shoot. Oh, this video's going on way too long. Gotta pick one. I'm running out. I really can't decide here. This is tough. Because I gotta go with one that is worthy to go up against Weinsteffen, which is going to be a tough battle. Which one of those has a better chance? It's an interesting way of looking at it. I think the Paulaner might have a better chance because of the smoothness of that. The flavors are more muted. Well, shoot. almost tempted to do a tie and then just do a three-way battle next time. Okay, so this is hard for me. I have a lot of memories of Franziskaner. I do think it's got more intensity of flavor, which is a huge bonus. I even think the effervescence is good. But when I go for a wheat beer, that's not really what I'm looking for. Whereas on a lager, that might make more sense. But even then, I tend to go towards more malty and sweet and smooth. If I did this again, it might switch. See, this is so hard. Again, the flavor of the Franziskaner, more intense. I really appreciate that. But it doesn't have the orange note that I like on this, and it's not quite as thick and smooth. And when I drink a Weissbier, I want thick and smooth. That's sort of what I expect. So this time, I'm going to go with a Paulaner. And let me know if I made the right decision in the comments. Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know. I enjoyed it, though. Either way, two great beers. Understand exactly why they're tied. Although the Franziskaner was rated 8 out of 10 overall, they got the same 91 score on Beer Advocate. So it's neck and neck. But that's my decision for now. Take care.